All right, we're back again. We're on a roll. This is the next, what is it, episode number 2. So,
Yes, but with a friend.
but with a friend, or what do we call her? A friend, a co-host, co-partner, something.
Yes, special guest.
Yeah. So, how was your morning today? Mine was, yeah, it was one of those days. I put the energy report out. I will be posting more, but man, this energy is not my favorite right now. So there is a lot of like anxiety stuff going around and things interfering things. So we have like a layer of technical issues overlaying some other things that are going to be coming into our radar, meaning longevity stuff, karmic patterns, sorting through those and getting rid of old energy. You know, when it comes to the times where it's getting rid of old energy, my husband is not a fan. In fact, the other day, he's trying to move furniture from one room to another room because I'm like, okay, no, this has to go. I'm done with this. When it comes to getting rid of old energy, I can feel the energy off items. I can feel, and this is what I don't think that people understand. You can you can leave energy imprints on your own items from different points of your own life. So we have that aspect, and then you have a visual triggering aspect that humans have on top of that, which is if you never change your rooms, if you never change your environment, your physical environment, and I talk a lot about this in the quantum heart stuff, your eyes trigger back to time frames. So what I mean by that is if you're in a different place in your life than you were 10 or 12 years ago, if you don't start replacing your visual environment and upgrading it, updating it somehow, your energy, your frequency can actually stay stuck in a time frame that you're not really a fan of. And so, did you guys know that?
I didn't know that.
No?
No, but I'm just thinking right now about how much of a dumpster fire my house is because I just haven't had time to clean it. So I'm sure that energetically it's not great.
What? Well, that's my point. Exactly. And then, so I knew coming into this year that I had to change a couple rooms. As you know, I swapped my offices, number one. But one of the things that have been really bothering me is just my living room area, because that's where I spend my downtime. And I have this huge entertainment center that somebody had given to me like 15 years ago. The memories and the stuff that I just connect to with this thing. Like I would be ready to burn it in a fire pit. Like I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want to bring those forward. And my husband wants to move. Let's just move it. What do you mean let's move it? Let's move it from this room to the other room. Don't you think we could use it in that room? And I'm thinking to myself, you've lived with me for like almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. I said, sometimes I look at you and think you don't know me at all. Like, I can't move. To me, to him, it's moving furniture. To me, it's just transferring the energy. Let's just move that energy from this room and now we'll remind you of it in this room. And I'm like, no. This is why I throw things away when he's gone. It was. Oh, and then do you ever notice? Well, I don't know whether you notice this or not, Michelle, but Rhonda might be the closest one. Men, when you clean something or you change a room, I realized yesterday it's like magic. It just happens that just all of a sudden everything looks clean and beautiful and wonderful if you do it while they're gone, because he helped me move the entertainment center out and it's been there for 15 years. So you can imagine, any woman on the face of the planet can only imagine the dust and the stuff behind there. This is not a secret. I mean, you just assume. And he was like, oh my God. And I was like, what? And then I realized, oh, he was talking about like the dust and stuff. And he's like, look at all this stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm going to clean it. Just give me 2 seconds. But it hit me that, and then I finally said, You do realize when I do this stuff when you're gone that, like, there's a lot invested, like cleaning, wiping down, like, it's not just, "Oh, magically everything looks nicer." And then I realized that I think that's what they think. It's really awesome, actually, if you could be in their shoes. But it was funny because I'm thinking, "What'd you think I'm just gonna leave it there?" And then the fact that his mind didn't go to how much stuff would probably be back there after 15 years was another insight for me.
Well, out of sight, out of mind. You don't see the
Right?
dust and it doesn't
Oh,
hurt you. It's
yeah,
like
not at all. And then I went to get my protein drink and realized that he didn't mean to, on accident, had bought the double. He bought vanilla. So he bought 2 vanillas. So now we have these 2 giant things of vanilla protein, which I so that can't drink, so that's how my day started. That was fun. How about you?
I I'm just trying to keep my head above water at this point. I feel like I worked so much this weekend. You know how we always talk about how working on the weekend is really nice because nobody bothers you and you can kind of just do
Age?
what you want?
Yes.
When I had like I think two or three clients like contact me on a Sunday and I was like, well, this is how this week's gonna go.
So we need to revisit this concept about it's nice to work on the weekend. We can't throw that out to the universe anymore.
Yes, but I did want to get your guys' thoughts on this because I thought it was really interesting. It was some point this weekend, I got random money that I just doesn't make sense. So it was
Oh,
from a doctor.
my thoughts are, amazing. What what do you
Yeah, but I was gonna ask a question because it was like from a doctor's office that I haven't been to in a year, and they're like, "Oh, your account had an overage, and so here's a check." And I was like, "Who? That doesn't happen, a
Oh,
lot." And I was
no,
like,
it happens, and actually,
"But is it a
uh
sign for what's to come?"
okay, couple things. I have a question. How much money?
It was only $80.
Okay, money's money, who cares?
Yeah,
That's
right.
$20. Um, so I've had this one thing happen to me twice where I bought an item and or 2 items when we bought our Airbnbs, and they only charged me for 1, and it was a large item. Um, I think that actually happened to me again last week. To be determined, I don't know, but so far, none of the charge has come in, and the shipping has already happened, so I'm not really sure what's happening, but I do have a money energy report for, this week, and that is it's revolving around money and things coming in and, the flow, and this week is kind of about investing in things that are gonna be long term for you. So, there is money energy that's really fluid, I would say, last week and this week, and it's gonna go on a little bit, so that's why it's not so weird.
Yeah,
But
I was just hoping. I was like, "Well, maybe this is a sign that, yeah, more is coming," and,
to me,
it's
it's all
a
a
little
sign
sweet.
if you're lined. If things feel good and you're lined, like, my whole life is a sign. Everything's a sign. I think there's a song about that, but, like, you know, t again, well, see, this goes back to, do people normally think that way, or is it just me that thinks that way? Because I don't know, but everything is a sign. Every dream, every commercial, everything somebody says, I'm constantly feel like the universe is talking to me through everything and every experience. So, yes, to me, that's how I view things. So,
Yeah.
Yes, and I
yeah.
actually,
So,
try to pay attention to, "Oh, is that a sign? Okay, it's telling me something." So I make my decisions a little bit on what I've noticed the sign was. "Oh, I need to I need to do this because I got a letter that I wasn't expecting and whatever." So I actually think like you do, that everything's a sign, and I
yeah,
try to
everything.
yep, and I just adjust some of my decisions to what the sign was that I happened to notice at that moment.
So, we got back from the South Dakota expo, just to switch gears a minute, um, not very long ago. And just to let you guys know, I keep getting inquiries about, like, when's the next one? When's the next one? So I do have to get back to the people in South Dakota to try to line up dates. And I keep having people ask me about them for here too. So we do need set dates on those. So I will try to do some digging to set dates on those. But while we were back there, one of the things we wanted to talk about today was the experience we had at the expo. No, not at the expo. After the expo at a hotel that we looked at. Do we want to get into that now, or do we have some other stuff that happened to anybody over the weekend?
I mean, I did watch the S4 documentary. Did you do that? Did you do that
No,
yet?
I didn't get a chance to watch that. That the entertainment center I put together took me like almost 6 hours. Like insane amount of time. Okay, to be fair, it was totally worth it, but 6 hours. I felt like I worked out for like 6 hours. You're on the floor, getting up, moving down, losing all the screws, losing the instructions, can't find the lighting strip. It was crazy. I should film it next time.
Well,
But
the photo you sent looked really good. I thought it looked really cool. So
thank you. It
it was
was
worth
cool.
it.
It
Worth the
was
time.
it was totally worth it, but without telling me anything, because I do wanna watch it. Oh, and we had, my friend's birthday, who had, who was on Saturday, so we had that too. What did you think? Do you have
I thought it was
is it
really good.
I have questions, or is it was
I have
cool?
questions. I have questions. Um, no, it was like for the most part, and I'm not giving any spoilers. It's like I've gone down those rabbit holes so many times where it's like a lot of the information wasn't surprising or didn't feel like necessarily new to me. But there was one moment where I was like, oh, I have questions for Jen. So
Okay,
we'll have to
so
talk
I
about
got
it
it.
once you've
Yes.
watched it.
Yes, I have to watch it. I wanna try to watch it this week or this weekend for sure. Um My husband's birthday's coming up though, and he does try to celebrate it for like a week straight. If I'm lucky, it's a week straight. It's not like 3 weeks. Sometimes he tries to claim the whole month, but after the grandsons were born, we can't really do that anymore. So, yeah, we might have festivities going on, but I absolutely want to watch it. I don't feel like there was things that might surprise me a ton. I just thought the creative aspect and the parts about him saying he remembered more things. I think the visual aspect will be cool and interesting. Um,
It was because I believe they had to have done that, predominantly with AI. Like, the
well, you
visuals
know
that they were
what?
able to generate looked good.
He was the guy who did it, Luigi, was with Bob Lazar on Joe Rogan's podcast. And Joe Rogan, I believe, mentioned that to him. And he said, actually, it was 10% AI, roughly. So
I
if you go
wonder.
watch the podcast, that's what he called it something else. He did. I don't do that area. That's your area. But he said the other 90% was creative something. I don't know what that was. I
I'm guessing
didn't.
more probably like a CGI. Yeah, Rhonda, did you wanna add something?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about. S4, I've never even heard of it before. So can you give
So
it
it's
just a
do you know who Bob Lazar is?
no.
Okay. So he is one of the prominent speakers about UFO stuff because of an experience he had at Area 51 when he was hired on there. So he had told his experience a long time ago about what he'd seen, what he was working on, and he became kind of the figurehead for UFO stuff because he was one of the ones that came out and said, "Here's what it looked like. Here's what I've been working on." And he came out when he was not necessarily supposed to be coming out because it was top secret or whatever. Anyways, that it follows that story. So he's very well known in the industry. But what is very authentic about him is he's not even really interested in UFOs. He's such a scientist. He's very interested in technology. So he's more interested in like the materials and how it worked. And then he
And more
is
like
in,
propulsion. Like
yes, then
propulsion
you,
in engines, yeah.
well, he's interested in it all, but that's where they kept him because they kept everybody separate, is what he explains. So in the podcast, there was a lot of other things he really would have liked to have been involved in as a scientist, just understanding and learning about the materials and what the materials do. So it's kind of a running joke with him that he doesn't really, as though he's viewed as kind of the father of the UFO stuff. It's not his interest. But again, that's what makes him super authentic. Is he's just a scientist. So if you ask him if he's asked something like on a podcast, he's just like, if he knows, he says it. If he doesn't, he's like, yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. And it's not of interest. So anyways, the documentary is based upon that. And it's on Amazon. So I'm excited to watch it. All right. So far we determined that Rhonda's getting a new computer that supports our spirit chats better
Yep.
when we talk about all the ghost hunting and the paranormal
Okay.
activity. So okay, maybe that is paranormal activity happening to be like, Rhonda, okay, step up your game. So maybe
Yep.
that's what it is.
Well, I'm
Could
gonna
be
say the last time we all three got together, energy amplified in your house, Jen. So maybe this is just a repeat of like the energy messing with it
Yep.
now.
Yep. This
Yeah.
is what we would call a sign. This is a sign. Remember?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
right along your money thing. Actually, and because this week is about investing in things that are gonna longevity stuff, long-term income, longevity, as far as any aspect of your life that you want to shift and change, this week's the proper time to invest in those things. So there you go. So now let's talk about the Alex Johnson and the accidental ghost hunting we did, because it was accidental. Didn't know we were going to do it. Went to check out a space. We've known that this place, or anybody who's in the area knows the place, is well known for quote unquote hauntings. I don't like the word hauntings because I feel like it has a negative connotation, or is that the word?
Connotation. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it has that vibe to it, and then everybody wants to run for the hills. That's on one side. On the other side, it intrigues the heck out of everybody, because the more I told this story, I've never got so many people listening to me in my life. I can sit there and go, I can show you a meditation, a visualization that will literally change your reality. I've written this book, I have techniques, and they're like, oh, that's nice. And I can go, I went and visited this haunted hotel, and they're like, oh my God, seriously, when did this happen? Tell me about it. What happened? Are you serious? And then like they are hanging on my every single word. Blows my mind. And that's when I was like, huh, people are interested in this. Apparently more than they're interested in changing their reality. So let's roll with it. Okay. So there's that. Anyways, we accidentally went ghost hunting. That sounds funny, but we were in the hotel examining the ballroom, and you can feel as a medium the activity is insane the minute that you walk in the door. You can just feel it everywhere. So our lovely hostess, Jessica, who is showing us around, we asked if we could venture around the hotel. Now, I have done this in other places of the Black Hills. And here's what I love about the Alex Johnson that I find very interesting. There are many haunted places, or quote unquote haunted, spiritually active places in the Black Hills of South Dakota. From all the things that have gone down over the years, they have preserved a lot of historical buildings, a lot of history is there. Now, not everybody likes you to bring an AMF meter in or a thermometer. They do not like you to scan for ghosts, and they do not like you talking about it. So I find that very interesting. In fact, they don't, oh, don't tell anybody. We don't want to be known for this. And then, or no, we don't want you filming. It's kind of strange because most people know that those areas, I know that there's some in Deadwood that are definitely have spirit activity, but then they're like, yeah, no, we don't want to be known for this. But the Alex Johnson, they fully embrace it. They have no issues with it, and it makes your experience very unique because you can book a room with an EMF meter that has activity in it, or one of their known active rooms. So I think that that's super cool. I think it's also cool that the staff is very open, talks about their stories. Some have a lot more activity than others. It depends on where they're at in the hotel. But our beautiful hostess, Jessica, was allowing us to go through the rest of the hotel because we asked her and she had told us a story. It might be a little bit, I'm just repeating what I remember, that she was trying to go through an employee door. And when she went to push on this door, which she goes through often, it usually just opens right up. But when she went to push, she thought somebody was on the other side of the door. And she waited a minute, nobody came through, so she pushed and said she had to push really hard, like there was a table behind there. And when she did and got it open, this cold gust of air had come through. And so she said that was my experience. And it was funny because she was like, finally, after 10 years, I had something happen. So some people have it happen more than others. She took us up a stairwell, and as we went up the stairwell, I could feel energy right away on one part of the stairwell. Asked Rhonda. Rhonda had
Yes.
agreed.
Yes.
And that was when I said something. Jessica says, "This is the door," which was what, 3 steps up from where you could feel the spirit. And she goes, "That's the one right there." Well, when we went out onto the 3rd floor, there was definitely a woman following us. I will tell you what I had seen, and then Rhonda can tell you her story. But a woman, long dress, long white dress, and it felt like very prairie vibe-ish. Um, she definitely was super friendly, felt like a hostess, knew that she was there to, like, she followed us through the room, and you got her at the same time I got her, didn't you?
Right.
I can't remember.
Yes. Yes.
And
Which is interesting because sometimes you pick up on one spirit and I will pick up on a different one at the
yes.
same time,
So
same place,
mhm,
which is interesting to
yeah,
me.
it is interesting, and that was, part of the case there as well. So we walked down the hall, and I'm like, "She belongs in this hotel." Like, it's almost like she owned it. Like, Alex Johnson, interestingly enough, we didn't I didn't feel his presence when I felt his impressions, but not his presence actively at the moment we were there. I don't think you picked up on him at all really either.
When I very first walked in, I told Michelle I saw him standing up on the balcony watching us. But that
Oh,
was it.
okay.
I
So
didn't ever see
yeah.
him or talk to him after that. And I didn't even know it was him until while you were visiting with Jessica, I was looking at some of the pictures on the wall,
Oh,
and
mhm,
there was a picture of what I had just seen on the balcony, and it was him.
right.
So that was
Okay.
interesting.
That was at
Yeah.
the beginning when we walked
Yes.
in.
Yep. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she seemed to be the hostess, and she was very proud of this hotel, wanted to walk with us. And then that's when we walked by the first room. I'm like, keeps saying she belongs to this room. And Jessica said, well, that's Alex Johnson's room. And then she said, but the next room was actually, well, wait, I have to back up because we had already decided or felt as if she was the daughter. She
Right.
definitely belonged. Alex Johnson was her dad. She felt like the daughter. That's when Michelle starts doing her we need to call it something like ghost investigation, her paranormal research,
I had to do some fact checking because you
right?
were throwing out names and I was trying to figure out the name of Alex Johnson's daughter. Did anybody ever determine if there
I
was a
didn't
name?
even I've had so much spirit activity going on in different areas of my life that like ship sailed when we left. So
Well, I didn't know if anybody had looked any further into the Alex Johnson
no,
because
I
I was
didn't.
curious,
Well,
at the
and
time.
that's what made it so fun, I feel like, for us is we've done 0 fact checking. I didn't know what rooms, I didn't know anything about anything, which I would prefer not to, because that actually makes it fun for me. When I'm like, "Okay, I'm picking up at this or this," and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, yep, that's happening." So that's kind of fun for me, that's the fun part. I don't prefer to know anything. I don't believe Rhonda does either, do you?
Right.
When
No,
you do
I'd
your
rather not.
mediumship? Yeah. So as we're walking through, she says the room next to his, I think it was a 304, 305, I think. That's the one that was built for her. And I'm like, no, she keeps saying, no, this is my room. And it was Alex Johnson's room. So we had determined, because of also, I'll let you share what you had picked up on there as well. Because while I was over looking at the room that was supposedly built for her, you were more investigating deeper into Alex Johnson room, which you said you were seeing.
Yeah, I seen them playing board games. It looked like they were playing chess
Correct.
or checkers or something, but they were sitting there playing. And so I felt like that was the room that they had their downtime in, that they spent together and
Yeah.
visiting. Yeah,
Bonded in and yeah,
right.
lived in. So then we kept going, and I don't remember if we stopped there first or kept going. Now it's all a blur. But anyways, when we went up the stairwell further, we hit another stairwell, the very next one where they were remodeling. I think it was floor 4. Um that had a very judgmental man there that apparently didn't like what we were wearing. So, yeah, he was just very judgmental. Now, the interesting thing is on both of these landings, I turned around and said, I'm feeling a man. Rhonda, do you feel it? And during those times, we actually caught orbs on both those landings on film, right? And then
Yeah.
that's where you were like, yes, I can feel it. And then I seen the orb on there. He didn't follow us anywhere. He was just there critiquing and judging all the things. In fact, now that I look back on it, my guess is it feels to me like he was like even judging the work that was going in there. So he feels like he was very knowledgeable. He feels like he could have been part of the crew that built the place or maintenance. He felt very involved to me, or does even now to me, where he was involved in either maintaining or overseeing the hotel, how it looked, guest experience, or whatever, because he seemed to very much be critiquing the way that they were remodeling.
Yes.
I
So,
mean, he had to have loved that hotel so much if he's sticking around, right? Like,
right.
why you here, dude? Like, why not go on the other side? Like, why would he stick around?
Well, because he liked his purpose there. You know, sometimes when spirits have a job or feel like they are fulfilling a purpose of some sort, whether that be a construction person or, overseeing a project or a nurse or whatever, they can and will still come down and be a little bit involved in it with a little bit of earth energy, depending on the type of spirit. So there are different types of spirits, which we can cover really quickly before we go on, which is you have the fully earthbound ones that are really earth energy frequency. So I can feel it in a way that they feel, I don't know how to explain it, just earthy. Their frequency is heavier. It's absolutely heavier. And you can feel the density of their energy when they're an earthbound spirit. Those are typically ones that people call ghosts that do not leave the spiritual plane. What do they feel like to you, Rhonda?
So yeah, very heavy. And that guy felt heavy to me. And
Yes.
he made me feel like he was very self-important. Like he felt like what he
Yes.
was doing was important.
That's a good word. Very, very self-important.
Yes,
He,
that his opinion
yes.
mattered. That's what, he he was gonna let us
Yeah.
know that he didn't appreciate us walking through his space, and he didn't appreciate the carpenters up there, and, you know
Yeah. Well, I feel like he thought they were doing things wrong or not quick enough or whatever. It
Right,
felt like a crew boss, right?
right.
Like of a project.
Mhm.
So then I believe that Jessica went downstairs. She had a meeting, and then we went back up. We'd asked if it was okay if we had gone back up to the 8th floor because we knew there had been activity up there. And she says, "Oh, sure, no problem," because they're just awesome there. And we went up, and we were completely drawn over. We had zero idea where the rooms were. Zero, like meaning there's a famous or I don't know if you'd say famous, a well-known room of 812. There was a incident that happened in that room. When we got off the elevator, me and Rhonda were drawn over to 812 immediately, but we had zero idea that's where 812 was. We didn't know the numbers. You don't see, well, maybe you've seen them, but when I'm doing spirit work, I wasn't really reading signs. There could have been one. But
That room was
when,
different though, because it's not just like when you're in a hotel and you see numbers that are just along like
Mhm.
a corridor wall. It was
Yes.
like a little cove almost. It was like you
Yeah.
had to walk into this thing, so it was tucked away that you wouldn't have seen the number to begin
Right.
with.
Right. And so I was immediate. I'm like, something's going on over here. And I went over there and Rhonda's like, oh yeah, I can feel it for sure. We're pretty convinced that that room configuration has changed because it felt more like the door had been moved, which doesn't really matter except for that we were just picking up on what had happened. Well, then we walked down the room, down that area, and then we went back to another. We were just scanning, seeing what we could feel. What was the vibe like? Were there any other straggling spirits around? And as I got down to the end of the hall, there was a super heavy feeling. It was around room 823, 24, and I could just feel the heaviness. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is, people are all up in arms because of what happened in 812 because there was an incident where there was a woman who was getting married, I believe in the 70s, because of course Michelle got on her little investigative mode. And they are unsure from what they said, but she ended up going out the window um on her wedding day, if I remember correctly. And then whatever happened. Now, they said that they've never figured out why, but it's weird because some people said that. I remember going back to the book later and some people speculated she was pushed with a spirit or so. No, that didn't happen. Me and Rhonda, we were both in agreement on absolutely no. That just is silly. But I did feel a man in there
Right.
that does feel like he was involved in. There was feels like a jealousy thing or an argument or whatever, which isn't that what you picked up on too, or did you
Yes.
see something different than
And
that?
to be clear, we didn't know any of this to start. We know it now that we've looked,
Right.
but at the time you picked up on the female and I picked up on the man at that point. I guess that was the second day when we came back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that's the
gonna
second
ask, did you guys actually go into the rooms? Because when I was only there for the first time, so I
yes.
didn't go
So
into
the
any.
second day, which I'll get to in a second, which what I was leading up to is when I went down the hall in the other direction, because I didn't even really know the story behind 812. All I knew is heavy activity. This is interesting. I can feel it over here. Oh, this is 812. Down the hall, around the corner. Ooh, this feels not great. This doesn't feel good. It feels very sad, very heavy, like really, really sad. And it's not that often I run into that. And then Rhonda, I said, go down here, tell me what you felt. She felt something very similar. So at the end of this, we leave. And there was another part where we were in the ballroom that I kept seeing these two kids. They're just running around, a boy and a girl, these two kids. And I thought, this is interesting. So I called her and asked, can we come back with EMF meters and do some video recording? And she said, yeah, absolutely. So I said, okay, can we get in a few rooms? We wanted to get in, I believe 304 and 305 or where Alex Johnson's room was. We wanted to get into 812, which we found out later was where the bride was. And then I said, can we get into 823? And there's 823 and 824 was back there. And those were the ones that I knew had strong activity and we wanted to hit. So when we went back, we went on the stairwells again because we were filming. And then we went up to 812. The interesting thing about 812 was the spirit that hangs out around there, which was not the daughter, it's a different spirit, moves a lot. It was, I believe 815 was right there too. So
Mhm.
when we went into 812, I could feel them move into 815. I could feel them just go past into the other room. It was almost like it felt like they were avoiding us a little bit or like
Yeah,
they
'cause
didn't
we had
want.
the cameras. So they were like
Yes. They didn't wanna be caught on
Right.
film, they didn't it was really strange because usually they don't care, like, the one guy, the judgmental guy, he'd be on film all day long, but this one, no, it, like, wanted to move, and then when we went into 8:15, I felt like they moved down the hallway even further, and I don't remember what rooms they were. So I know that that area, that spirit is very mobile, moves between the rooms. Then we went down back to the 823, which was the room that we felt very heavy, and that's oh, that felt weird. And then Rhonda had went in and you would go ahead and tell your part.
I just went in, and you were looking in the bedroom part, and I just went right to the bathroom because I was drawn to the bathroom, and I just could start tasting blood. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is this is not good. This is heavy." And anyway, so I left right away, and you went in and checked it out too, and you were just like, "Yeah, this is crazy.
So
We
we
gotta."
found out later that there wasn't some great stuff. We found out through the grapevine that had happened in that room, which explained a lot of what we were feeling. So, and you know what? When you say it tasted like blood, that probably is going to freak out so many people. I just realized they're probably going to be like, oh my God, I would run for my life. The problem is if you do have a ability to taste. Sometimes spirits will come through with a taste. You can't run from that. There's no running. It's coming
Yeah.
with you. But
But it was just so
you
heavy, and it was just
right. Well, and the other thing is that is a skill. It's a mediumship skill, so it's not like people are going to go into the hotel and have the same experience. Just to be clear. So then we went through some other corridor areas. We went down in the basement of an area, but it wasn't, if I remember correctly, it wasn't the area that they see a lot. Apparently there's somewhere down where they have like the kegs and stuff that is highly active. But we needed to be able to get permission to go into those areas. And weirdly enough, the person to give us permission was flying back from Hawaii. So we couldn't get in touch with them. But we did catch smoke on film coming up where that man was. There was some red smoke in the corner on film that you have to really look, but it is there. There was some black smoke that had moved up on one of the doors in another area on the floor 8. And then we had caught some really strong orbs on camera that definitely wanted to be filmed. One of them was very strong. That being said, it made me go like, geez, what would happen at night if we come in? Because here's the thing about spirits in the daytime, the veil is thicker, so you don't usually pick up on them as much, especially when it comes to like a camera or like a thermometer or something, because they need to get through what the white noise frequency, which is all the noise that you hear from just people talking and cars and different things like that. So they need to be able to get through that. So it's harder for them to get through. That's why people experience things at night, and man, they love that. So, but when we went back the second day, I really could feel those two kids as well. So that I kept seeing in the ballroom, there's this ladder. And I'm like, what is up there? Because I keep feeling the kids moving up this ladder and up this ladder and just laughing and running around. And she said it went up to the roof, which that's weird. But I guess if they're spirits, what's going to happen? Is that, you know? So, anyways, I found out later, I can't remember if it was through your investigation or somebody told me that there had been a lot of sightings of kids or hearing of these kids. So we actually had hit on quite a few things. Um, the bride's room and the spirit that hangs out in there, a whole nother spirit on the other side, somebody who was looking over maintenance wise, the daughter of Alex Johnson, the kids, it's very quite active. It was fun, and it was just really fun and interesting.
Well, you guys were running around like kids in a candy store. Like the first day when I was there, and you were like, this is amazing. And then the thing that we didn't talk about was like, I wasn't scared, but my heart was racing out of control.
Oh,
I
yes.
could not get that under
Mhm,
control. That took several hours, even
mhm.
after leaving the hotel, to where
Yeah.
I felt like I could finally come down. So it
And
was
you know
just
what? I was interesting that I think I told you, but you just made me remember that Jessica, who had taken us around, when we went into 812, she's like, "Oh, my heart is racing. Like, I feel like I'm having anxiety." And I
Yeah.
said, "Yeah, that can happen." She goes, "Well, maybe the whole time I've had anxiety when I'm around here, it's not anxiety at all." And I'm like, "Probably not." Because when a spirit comes into your energy field, sometimes you can feel your heart racing and or their presence, which causes that to happen. So,
What measures would I need to take if I was going to go back? Because I was like, I'm assuming we're probably going to be going back to not feel that. Like, how do I bubble myself? Just,
well, I mean, you can do a bubble meditation prior. You could wear black tourmaline, hematite, any type of grounding stones because it keeps your frequency at a different level. Then when you start raising your frequency, when you're going through those things, if your energy is not as strong, it can be overpowered by the presence of spiritual activity. And so to keep it stronger, you can either do two things. You can either bring your frequency down a notch with the grounding techniques. You can bubble, which can put a barrier around, sometimes even mentally just preparing yourself and then just working your energy up like into a stronger energy, and just telling yourself that your energy is going to be the dominant energy should help the energy drain, because what they do is they pull from you.
yeah.
So when they're round, they pull like they're plugging into you, and so they pull your frequency, pull on it, not always meaning to, sometimes just to draw energy, sometimes just to try to talk with you telepathically. Just you connecting with their energy is going to have an effect, I guess I would say. So if they're trying to communicate with you, it can do that, things like that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
It's
that
so
was
fun.
fun. It was so fun. I
So
had so much fun after that time, which is hilarious because we were talking about when you guys came out here, and Rhonda, you were like, "I don't like it when they touch me." Like, what are you talking about? You do this all the time.
yeah,
She's like, "Yeah, but I don't like that." So,
Rhonda, what about your house? Do you
yeah.
get like touched and messed with in your house?
No, I don't. Not
Hmm.
not here. But I did live in
it's just
a
my
home.
house.
Yeah. Well, I did live in a house that I did get messed with a bunch, but I no longer live there because I did not like that. But
As
I
a
thought
medium, I moved out of my house because the spirit activity, I was not a fan. I'm out. See you
I
later.
know. I Yeah, and here I tell other people, "You're gonna be fine." They're just trying to get your attention, and I give them all this advice. But when it's you, it's like, "Ooh, that did not feel cool." It
Yeah.
When we were at your house and it touched me on the head and on the shoulder, I was like, "Whoa." That
And this is the room where I'm in right now. Is actually the room that many people have been touched in this room. And that sounds very strange. So I should rephrase that: shoulder, head, just hi, I'm here, or move over a little bit, you're in my way, you know, so,
Right.
things of that nature. When you guys were here, and I think we talked about this on the last podcast, it was also when I could feel the pressure on the bed. Many people have talked about it. It's happened to me so many times. The amount of time my hair's brushed off my head, I'm touched on the head, I can feel pressure on the bed like somebody leaning over to me. In that time that I was talking about, you guys were here, the pressure was on the bed. I thought it was my husband. Opened my eyes, he'd been gone an hour. So that happens often. And Pixel's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, she just needs to be the star of the show sometimes. I think, it's a particular time of day. If I say the word, she's gonna freak out,
Yeah,
because
don't
it
say
is
that word. I
yeah,
know
it's
which word it is. And the next thing you know,
EINNER.
you're gonna be able to spell. That's what happens when you're young. I remember my grandmother used to spell candy until I learned very young how to spell candy. Like, I mean, I was like, that was probably the first word I ever learned how to spell. So,
Well, she's just so smart. So she's like, "Hi, you remember me?"
Yeah, they all are. So yeah, it's interesting and funny to me when it's funny when mediums don't like to be like, they're like, no, I don't want to be in this room and I don't, that cracks me up. But, anyways, every house I've ever lived in has high spirit activity. I don't tell everybody about it because I've literally, no joke, had people go, I don't want to come over there. Like, I'm not. No, I don't. I'm not coming over at night. I don't want to hang out at your house. I'm like, seriously, what do you think's gonna happen? It's not that bad.
Well, it was
So,
interesting that the 3 of us, that our energy was so big when we were together that the fire alarm went off. I mean, it was just so much stuff
oh, it's
happened
a
when you had
lot.
all 3 of us. Yeah.
Well, and it can amplify. It can go through times where it's amplifying, and I'm getting all the knocking, and whether anybody's here or not. So we definitely caused a stir being all together, but it is very common at my house. So yes, we would like to go back to Alex Johnson, maybe some other places in the Black Hills, talk about what we're seeing, experiencing, and verifying the spirits, because that was fun, because I think we verified almost every spirit that we felt or seen. We, even the one in that room that had the weird stuff happen, we had verified what had gone on in there. The only one we haven't really verified, which maybe I'll ask them about, is the one overseeing the judgy one,
Yeah. Right.
the judgmental.
Right.
So there's
Well,
that. But other than that, I think we had pretty much verified every one. So I think we need to do another one of those.
I think so too. And the
Maybe.
people around here were so excited to hear that we were gonna do this podcast because they wanted to hear what we
Oh, really?
found. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I hope you guys do a tour," or, if we
Well,
come.
okay, so that's another thing. We've actually talked about that, because here's the interesting thing, and Michelle, you could probably weigh in on this too, is Jessica had said it was so fascinating watching you guys go through there and work. I didn't even think about it. Like, it was just like, this is just life. This is what I do usually. It's just not like, I'm not like saying things all the time. But when I go in places, oh yeah, I'm like doing that the whole time, because spirits are everywhere, which also cracks me up. It makes me laugh that people think they're only in haunted places. I'm like, okay, just go ahead and stick to that story. That's fun. But
Well, it was fun to see everything in real time. And I think, I totally know, like, from Jessica's point of view of what she was saying, of like, you're discovering it in real time. We're watching you in real time. I'm Googling on my phone. And then the other thing is, when you're watching that kind of stuff on television, it's always just meant to be spooky. And they're trying to scare you basically. And it's like, it wasn't necessarily scary. So it was kind of like a fun way to approach seeing the real-time discovery of mediums walking through a place that's haunted.
it wasn't scary, except for the fact that you were like, I can't get my heart
Yeah, I
stopped.
was like, except for the fact I can't breathe and my heart's gonna explode out of my chest. Other than that, great
Well, that's not
time.
helpful for anybody, and we probably should not say that if we're gonna do a tour, but, just
Well,
just in
if
case.
they can
Yeah,
protect themselves. They've got tips now, wear your grounding stones, bubble yourself up, and then go on the tour.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm kinda curious, what did you find interesting about that? Because, like, I'm just in it at the whole time, but it's, like, what I do on a daily, so what was fascinating being on the other end of that, do you feel like? Like, what
Well,
was
for
interesting?
me, because I love the details and all those types of things, me researching real time while you guys are being like, oh, I wonder if Alex Johnson's daughter, or like, what was her name? Or did she die young? Or who died young? Or where's the mom? And then, me frantically Googling. That's kind of fun because you're seeing that it's just real time. It's like discovering everything. So it's kind of like
Yeah,
you're on a scavenger hunt, but for a
for
different world.
spirits. Yeah.
Well, like, it was fun for me to say something and you verifying it or having something different, but
Oh, yeah.
understanding kind of what I was trying to say, or when you were talking about the woman in white, and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I see her too," or feel her.
Well, and I mean, I guess it's different. That was more like fun, because now that I'm thinking about it, We did a mediumship gallery when I was back there as well for some clients, and we've done many of those. I've done umpteen mediumship readings and whatever, and they are different than going into a spiritually active place. They're different in the fact of you're exploring as a medium in a spiritually active place. But when somebody's asking you about somebody who's passed, you're specifically calling that person up. You're specifically connecting with that person. So it's kind of like we're going to interview this person, talk to this person. It's very directive. And that's what's interesting because obviously when we were back there and we were doing the gallery, we hit on a lot of different things, you know. Oh yes, that why are we seeing this? Or I'm noticing this and they're saying this, or they're dressed like this. Did they die like this? There's all these things that are pass away. There's all these things that we're giving you and that the client is verifying. So you were at both. You were at the gallery because you were doing some readings there too. And then you came to the hotel. Did it seem different to you from the outside as well?
I don't know about different. I mean, they're just such different settings because we were at a gallery of people who were all asking very personal questions where
Uh-huh.
the the kind of haunted tour that we did, that was just different. It was more like discovery mode. So,
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's like exploratory versus very specific. So I was
yeah,
wondering from an observatory standpoint, it seems similar or like that's what I mean. Like just seemed kind of similar.
a little, yeah. It's hard to compare because I mean, it was just very different, but
Yeah. So, yeah, it was fun. The gallery was fun, but we do a lot of galleries. So,
should we
like I
plug the one we have coming up?
oh yes, we have one coming up on the 29th, and or if it's past the 29th of April, you just need to go to the website to see if we have another one scheduled as well. But that's where we'll be doing a spirit gallery in real time for, you know, loved ones who have passed or anybody who would like a mediumship reading online, Zoom. Because when we were back there, I had a lot of emails and people when I do the galleries, actually, and when we were here too, doing the galleries that are like, are you doing anything online? I can't travel there, or, you know, they're caretaking or have children or jobs or whatever, and they really would like to be able to connect with somebody. So we decided, yeah, let's just do some for those who can't show up to one of the expos and do it live via Zoom. So that will be coming up. You can find that on the website.
Yeah, and all of those notes, if you are interested, those links will be in the description, so you can just look at the show notes to find out where to go and when our next ones are coming.
Yeah. So lots going on, lots of activity in the hotel. We plan on revisiting that again. We also plan on visiting some other places, seeing what turns up. And we always love to hear feedback too on different places, different things going on. Not that we're not, you know, busy. It's not like we're hanging out waiting to do things, but we do like ideas because we do have a lot going on. Anything else that you would like to add?
I don't think so.
Just we're good now. How about you, Rhonda? Any other things going on?
Nope, I'm excited for our deal on the 29th. So,
Yeah, me too. That'll be fun. All
mhm.
right. So I guess we'll be back with more stories next week.
Yeah, sounds
Yep.
good.
All right. Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.